Hey, hey, how's it going? Welcome to our newest episode of Change by Choice here on this podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about how to honor the struggle. Yeah, you heard me. It is about trusting the process, honoring, those tough times, what I like to call those bittersweet moments. They never feel quite good, but when you learn what you need to learn through them, you find that sweet spot on the other side, which usually looks like our growth, our experience, our learning. And it helps us get to a place of being our best self. So before we get started in on that topic, I always like to start off. I am a dual business owner, I guess. I have my company, Charlotte Furrow Change by Choice, which primarily specializes in high performance coaching, one-on-one coaching. I also am a consultant, which is called Thrive Consulting. So I do leadership and development consulting, helping businesses focus in on the win-win in terms of their people processes. So implementing systems, trainings, and coaching and development under the realm of creating that specific result. Cool? All right. So honoring the struggle. I love this. I say this to myself all the time, and it's something that comes up because you will have heard me in past podcasts talk about how a lot of us have been, we've been groomed to just push away anything that doesn't feel good, right? Bad feelings, bad memories, bad thoughts, it's just, let's push it. Let's fill in that void. Let's just have that quick fix. And, I really feel like part of this is retraining and redefining what that is in our life and how it shows up for us. And oftentimes, those tough spots, when things get hard, they're the opening to some of the best and greatest learnings that help us build into the person that we're meant to become. But if we're constantly pushing it away and avoiding and denying, then we're missing out on that most important learning. And so, honoring the struggle can show up in so many different realms, right? Can show up in our relationships, in communication, can show up at work, in terms of maybe, not being able to move forward with projects, maybe missing a skill set, maybe doing things for the first time and realizing like, oh my gosh, I can fail. It can show up just in every single moment of our life where our ego tends to kick in and want to protect us from that potential fail, from that potential risk, from that potential feeling that doesn't feel good, And so it's knowing that part of what we're doing is learning how we tick and function. So when feelings come up that kind of put us in a place where our defense mechanism kicks in, it's just realizing that we are in control in those times. And so the first thing I like to do is become really aware of my defense mechanism. When I start to want to push away, when I start to want to become silent, when I want to, when I get more frustrated, and what are those sensations? What are those feelings that come up for me? Because the moment now that I feel them, I know I'm tipping into my defense mechanism. I understand what my body is trying to do, protect me from that hurt, from that fail, from that potential risk. And so, that's kind of step one. And how you get there is being open to it. So it's not, when you're going to want to shut down, maybe you take that moment and you say, okay, what's going on here right now? You start to self-coach, asking yourself those important questions. You sit in it for a minute. Nothing's going to happen to you in there. You ask yourself, like, what's going on for me right now? Why is this, coming up for me right now? Why am I starting to have negative thoughts right now? Because that's the other part. When we're in that zone, the other place that might come up for you are negative thoughts about yourself or about other people. It could show up as fear and doubt, or it could show up as judgment and, potentially, envy or jealousy towards other people. So it's not that everybody goes through it to a certain realm, and some more than others, but it's just allowing things to come in and being able to just say, okay, what's going on right now? What really is the reason that I'm feeling this way right now? Take some time, reflect. One of the biggest tips that I can give you is not to react in the moment. That's when your body's just in autopilot. It's like you have no control. Your body is just reacting to the sensations, to the potential risk, to whatever it needs to do, and it's usually based on the past because you've gone through that before, because you've been hurt before, because your defense mechanism has kicked in before. And what you're doing now is you're teaching yourself to slow that process down. You're kicking into intention and choice and out of being in autopilot. What you're going to find is that the more you do work in this, and yes, at the beginning, it's a lot of just like stopping, asking, reflecting, until you start to understand yourself. And then you start to choose the way that you need to go based on the result that you want, not based on the reaction and the emotion. So, that might look like, taking, a few deep breaths, going and reflecting, thinking about it before you speak. It might mean like sitting in the situation. Maybe you did fail. Maybe that's already been done. And just being like, hey, what is the learning that I need to learn right now? How can I take this potential negative and turn it into a positive? Because you want to level up in life, master this skill. That goes with every single area of your life. Not only that, you will achieve more happiness, more peacefulness, more freedom, and you will start to learn what works for you, and you'll get to where you need to go. Because the flip side of this, when you're stuck in all that negativity, the hurt, the risk, the fail, all the potential, then what you're attracting in is that. Everything that you're seeing is that. Our mind has the ability to hold in one thought, positioned in one way. That's why it's important to move yourself out of that and to be like, hey, I can't change what happened, but I can change how it's going to move forward. And I can either learn from this or I'm going to keep repeating this. Because I don't know about you guys, but another thing that I always lean on is you keep getting handed the same test over and over again until you finally learn the lesson. Until you finally choose to step outside of it. It doesn't mean that you won't get tested anymore, but you will be so aware and you will know and you will have the experience to be able to see it and to move through it. Because isn't that what life's about? It's not like we're going to avoid all the bad stuff out there. No, it's how can we go through life with grace, with peace, with happiness? And then in turn, develop ourselves to be able to be in all types of situations. It's our armor. That's our protection. And it's important because we're going to go through grief. We're going to go through extreme hard times. And you never quite know when that's going to happen. So every moment that you start to build up your armor, you start to build up a strong mindset, you're going to see yourself move through things with a little bit more fluidity, a little bit more ease. Instead of something, throwing you off course for 3 months where you're down, depressed, like completely lost all your passion and your focus, you're going to be able to get yourself out of it in just a couple of days. Because it's about the strength in our mind and our ability to coach ourselves through life. You can either be a victim in life where everything is happening to you, or you can own your life and choose how it's going to go. You don't get to be both. So I guess that's my big question to you guys is, who do you want to be? Taking full responsibility, being a little bit happier, a little bit more peaceful, or being a victim, completely caged off, not being able to live life at its fullest. And maybe that just shows up for you in certain areas of your life. But don't be fooled. Like, learn what you need to learn. Take some of these tips, start to dig in deeper, start to evaluate, ask yourself the tough questions so that you can grow and move forward. Again, I always think in my head, I don't want to be 15, 20 years down the road looking back, wishing that I had made certain choices, wishing that I had, gone for my goals and my dreams and my ambitions and done that work so that I can help other people. And maybe that's not you, and that's totally fine. But take the time and ask yourself. So, in wrapping up, this was about honoring the struggle. And it's just learning that everything that we are given in life, we can handle. We are strong enough. And there is a reason why you are being handed it. There is a lesson there. There is a purpose there. I posted something on my page where it's like, we can find our purpose within our wounds. So sometimes some of those biggest pitfalls that we have in life, where we feel the most grief, is the opening to the purpose of our own life moving forward. So don't be afraid to sit in it. Don't be afraid to dig into it. Honor it. It's a blessing. You might not always think it right in the moment, but give yourself time and trust the process. Sometimes when I'm stuck, that's just the only thing that I'll say to myself. Trust this process. This is happening for a reason. Move through it. It's all going to come together. So on that note, we're going to wrap up. I'm just so excited. I've done a few, amazing launches over on my Facebook page. So Charlotte Furrow, Change by Choice. And on my website, so you can always go to charlottefurrow.com. Go check it out. There's some pretty exciting things happening, some contests, some challenges right now. And as always, if you have certain topics that you want me to discuss or to dig into, send me a message and I will see you guys or talk to you guys next week. Cool? Take care, everyone.